Hey there, it's Kathy with Be Creative with Kathy, and in today's video I'm going to show you two different ways to use the watercolor pencils, and I think you're going to like the second way. Now, you know me, I'm not a colorer. I really don't like to color on my stamping projects, just probably because I'm lazy. But after I learned this technique, or I think I knew it before, and you know how you get those techniques and when water pencils comes out, they show you everything and then you forget to use them, and then after a while you don't think about it anymore? I think that's the case, but anyway, I'm going to show you another way to use the watercolor pencils that I think might change your mind. Now, the thing I like about watercolor pencils is Stampin' Up. We have two different families in our online store right now, and so you get a lot of colors for just a little bit of money. So if you don't have all the ink pads, you don't have all the blends, you don't have all the markers, you get a set of colored pencils, and you get, like I said, a lot of different colors for just that one packet. Now in here I have both packets. I can't tell you what colors come in what packet. I'd have to get the catalog out. And then they have had some kits that have colored pencils in here. So I have quite the variety of colored pencils. And then you'll see that I have a blender pen in here too. So I'm going to grab out the colors that I want, because I want the Bermuda Bay, I want a daffodil here, let's do a pumpkin pie, and then we'll do just a melon mambo. I think that's what that is. Yeah. Oh, and a gray. I need a gray, and we'll grab a gray here. Okay, now I have my colored pencils and I kept out my blender pen. I'm going to put these to the side. And I think I have a nice sharp tip, so make sure if you're going to do a lot of them, you have a colored or a pencil sharpener. You'll need to sharpen your pencils too. So because I'm using blender pens and water painters, I'm going to use shimmery white cardstock. Now, shimmery white cardstock is a little bit thicker, can handle water a little bit better than just our basic white cardstock. It's not quite as good as watercolor paper, but shimmery white paper works really well when you're going to watercolor. So the first thing I'm going to do is we didn't talk about, we're going to use this stamp set nuts and bolts. I think it's really cute. It's probably one of my favorites out of this mini catalog. And this guy right here. And I'm going to emboss these, so I'm going to take a dryer sheet and I'm going to do two different ways of watercoloring. We'll see which one you like better, and we'll see which one, well, I think you'll like better. But I'm going to just rub my dryer sheet. That gets kind of the static off of there, and maybe the oils from my hands off of there, so that when I emboss, my embossing powder only sticks to my paper, or to my ink, sorry. So this is Versamark ink. It's just like a sticky ink, and all it's going to do is hold that embossing powder where I want it. So I'm going to just place him down right there. And then let's do that again over on this piece. Ink him up pretty good. Although my Versamark is pretty juicy, so we should be good. And then this one here, I'm going to set that down, let that ink, well, it's not going to sink in, it's going to sit on top. Like I said, that's a sticky ink. Now, while I put the black embossing powder, I'm going to warm up my heat gun, so it might get a little noisy. And I'm going to bring in, now embossing powders come in these kits. I need both black and white. I keep them in these little tubs, so I have them here. And I'm going to just dip my paper in there and pick that up. Do the same thing with this guy. Looks pretty good. Get it under, okay. And then I got a little heavy on this one, so I'm going to just flick him off and then take my paintbrush and get rid of some of those speckles that I don't want on there. There we go. Same thing with this guy. Okay, now let's melt that embossing powder. It's my belief that embossing powder, is just shavings of plastic that now that Versamark is holding onto our paper. So now we're just going to melt that again. So you'll see when it turns from a powder back into that shiny plastic, I guess you'd call it, that it's all done. And I just like to take and move it around a little bit just like that. It doesn't take very long, especially because I heat up my gun really well. And melt that on there. Now it's all shiny. Let me do one last check here. Yeah, I think I got it all. Okay, there we go. So I'm going to put this one, we're going to use the white later, so I'm going to just put the white right there on top, and then it'll be ready when it's time to go. Okay, so now down to coloring. Oop, and one more, hold on. I forgot I wanted to have a piece of paper towel. We're going to need that just to clean my brush a little bit. So normally when I'm using watercolor pencils, I take my watercolor pencil right here straight to the paper and I kind of scribble on there. And then I take my blender pen or even your water painter and move that ink or that color around like this. And you see you get a good coverage. It's, you know, not dark, but it gives it some nice soft pastel-y colors because it's on that shimmery white. You can move the color around. It works well with the water. I'm going to do up here too. Okay. And then let's see. Now if I wanted more color on there, I'd let that dry, I'd put that pencil on there, and I'd go again. This is how you clean your blender pen, although really it works better on cardstock than it does on that paper towel. And then you take your flower, right? I'm going to do the same thing, although it's a bolt, I think. Color it up here. And now that you can, you know, and take your blender pen, smooth that out. And then you take that orange here, and thank goodness it's, but I'm going to try to get it in there. And, well, you don't get the color, right? Okay, so that's what that looks like, that. But then here's another way. So I'm going to use my watercolor pen brushes. Now these come in a pack of 3. I'm going to use the one that comes with a really thick brush, a really thin brush, and a medium brush. I'm going to just use the medium brush. But I'm going to take my little guy here, and the first thing I'm going to do is get that water flowing. So there's a little push right here's a little push thing where your thumb goes and you squeeze that tank, because I have some water in there. Now when you go to put water, remember the lid screws the wrong way. That way when you're watercoloring, your lid doesn't come loose. But I'm going to get the water coming out of my I can't even talk. My brush here, and I'm going to just go over his body like this. Now I don't think you can see it, but up here I can see that there's almost a pool of water. In fact, it's a little bit too wet. Let me get, nope. And I don't know if you can go too wet. He's got a lot of water on there. Then you take that colored pencil and you color, and look how dark and vibrant that are. I'm hardly applying any pressure. It's just filling in really nice. So my suggestion is, if you want a nice dark color with your colored pencils, you put the water down first, and then you bring in your color pencils and you color that in. Now, if you have some areas here that, you know, your colored pencil, you could bring your brush back in and move that color around and get in those little nooks and cranny. That one's being really, I think it's because and if your brush turns to where it's not a fine tip like that, you just need to get more water going in your brush to get it wetter, and then that tip comes right back. I'm determined I'm going to put that, get this corner right here, some color. But you can see the difference. Look how dark and vibrant it is when you put the water down first. Let me show you on that flower the difference. So you take that little flower, let me get some water going again here. And I'm going to make sure it's all wet. And you notice I'm not even staining the, like in the lines with the water. It really doesn't matter, because then you take that yellow and look how bright and vibrant that is. Just because I laid the water down first. And then that orange in the center, or that pumpkin pie, look how dark that is compared to the first one I did. So I'm going to go ahead and finish coloring these. I'm going to go back to my water before on both of them. It won't take me very long, because like I said, you don't have to stay in the lines. I'm going to just do a little bit at a time. This is a little bit of just basic gray down here. And we'll get this leg over here. And this arm. Whoop, I got a lot of water on that one. Get some of that off. But I think too much water is better than not enough. If you want those dark, vibrant colors, let's get his, I think these are ears. I don't know if they're ears. And his hat, I don't think that's a hat either, but, and then color that gray. But look how easy it is, hardly any pressure, and you got all that nice color on there. Let's see if there's still, nope, it's not wet. We're gonna come back in here and just get a little bit of his mouth in there and do that in like that. Okay, let's go ahead and do him real quick. Like I said, I'm even going to start over with his body. This time I'm going to be careful I don't go out the edges because there's already some color on there and I don't want it to go outside the lines. Let me color this in real quick. This might be a game changer. Now I don't mind coloring so bad with the colored pencils, now that I can get the color on there fast and dark. Okay, we'll do that. Get that water going again, that flower a little bit here. And like I said before, the colored pencils is an easy way to get a lot of colors for not too much. Like if you're just starting out and you don't have too many ink pads, this way you would have a lot of colors. You just have to buy the water brushes, water painters, whatever they're called. And they last forever, trust me. You just refill them with water when you run out of water. Did I already do this arm with the water? There, now we just got to get his little there we go, and then one here, a little bit for his tongue down here. There we go. Okay, I think I got them all colored. Now, again, to clean your brush, although if you put the water down first, the brush doesn't maintain a lot of color. The tips will get stained, but they're still fine. They're clean, they're just stained, and they work just as well. Put that cap on it and save that for the next time. So aren't they cute? Look how color and vibrant they are with that watercolor pencil. So let's go ahead and finish our card. And I don't have any of the measurements right here in my head, so you'll have to go to my blog, becreativewithkathy.com. The link will be in the description, and get all the card measurements there. But let me show you how I did this background here. I have just a piece of basic white. I have some Bermuda Bay and some Pool Party, and I'm just going to attach those. They're the same. I do know they're 1.5 inches tall, but I don't know how wide they are, whatever piece this white is. But like I said, the measurements will be on my blog. And then we'll get this one on here. And line those up just like that. Let me bring in a piece of scratch paper. This will work. And then I'm going to start with some Pool Party ink. So I have Pool Party here, and I'm going to just use a blender brush. I'm going to ink that up pretty good here. And then I'm going to just color this white one, a little bit of Pool Party, and I'm going to kind of go down onto that Pool Party cardstock. And sometimes I'm going to go this way, sometimes I'm going to go this way. I'm going to just get some ink on there, and I'm going to try to get it even, but it's not going to be perfect just because, well, I'm not perfect, I guess is the best way to put it. But get down a little bit of ink down here on the Pool Party, and then we have a piece that's kind of, looks a little light up here. Let me see if I can't get that. There we go. But then I have a kind of an ombre looking thing with that. And then I'm going to bring in some Bermuda Bay. Now, because if you were making a bunch of cards, I would grab another blending brush and use the Bermuda Bay. Or if you're going to just do one, you could just do the darker color right with the lighter color blender brush. It wouldn't matter. But since I already have a Bermuda Bay that's inked up with my blender brush, I'm going to just come in and put a little bit of lower or darker ink down here, a little bit more ombre. And then while I'm at it, I'm going to kind of get the edges a little bit, so it gives it some distinction between this piece and the background of my card base. Just a little bit on the edges up here at the top because I don't want it too dark. But there we go. So that's how I got that ombre background piece. Okay, let's go ahead and attach that to the front. I just have a piece of Pool Party cardstock. It's a card base 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. And then I folded it in half on that score line. Just take this, I'm gonna lay this, if I can get it straight, we'll see. And in the center, that looks pretty good right there. Then I have a couple scraps here. So I have a scrap here of basic black, and I'm gonna bring in that Happy Birthday, or HB2U. Now this one, I use the Valentine's Day from the Sweet Conversations, the Happy Valentine's Day here. Did the same thing. This time I'm gonna do a happy birthday card. So again, I'm gonna get my heat gun going. I'm gonna ink up that Happy Birthday to You. Just stamp that down here at the bottom of my scrap with that white ink, or that white embossing powder. Ink that up, flip off what I can. Get my paintbrush here, get off the rest of it. And those little flakes will really show up the white on the black, but it's still gonna look good. I think I got most of it off there. Let's see how I did. And then we'll melt that embossing powder again, just like that, nice and quick because I heat up my gun. And then I'm gonna just take a pair of paper snips here and just cut that piece down to size. I probably should have used my paper trimmer. Oh, look, I have my mini one right here, because I think it would get it straighter with the paper trimmer. So let me just use this one. You could also use the other paper trimmer, but I got my mini right here. That looks pretty good. Okay, so let's take, I'm gonna even take some dimensionals, and I'm gonna just use this strip along here, the side. Put that right here. And set that along. And this time I think I'm going to put it at a little bit of an angle. And then I had another Valentine here for my other card, because I was going to go ahead and do both of them, but I'll do it later because I can't seem to find it right now. I'm going to put some dimensionals on the back of him. And now I lost my dimensionals. Oh well. Oh, here they are. I'm going to use these dimensionals. But I'm going to put 5. I like to put one in the center so the tummy of my cardstock doesn't sag. There we go. Place this right here in the center. You could even tilt it if you wanted to. How do I want it? Now I think I want mine straight on there like this, especially because my happy birthday is tilted. Then on the inside, I've already stamped one. This is just Memento black ink, and I took some of those little hearts and stamped those in some real red. I'm going to take this and put it on the inside. And those hearts are from the Nuts and Bolts stamp set. That's just another stamp that's in that set. And then to finish off the front of my card, I'm going to bring in those, this is the Sweet Heart dies that coordinate with that stamp set that I showed you earlier. Just this one row of hearts right here. And let's just cut out some hearts for the front of our card. Now I could also take that stamp and stamp them in red, color them, and fussy cut them, but I think this is going to be a little bit faster. So let's go this route. And then just run that through there. This is going to cut out like 6 hearts really fast. it also cuts out this piece here. Let's see if I can get it out of there. Maybe this end. Nope. All right, fine. Let's get the paper piercer. I'll show you what else this right there that we could have used on our card. I wonder if, nope. No, I'm not going to use it. I'm going to use these. I'm going to grab some glue dots on the backs of my little hearts here. And then let's just put those right here on the front of our card. Let's go that way. And look how cute that card is. There we go. And then you can even, I did one here that's using a blue tone rather than the Bermuda Bay tones. And look how cute those are. Isn't that a fun card? You'll have to let me know if you try this with your paper or with your watercolor pencils, if you like it better and if you'll use them more, because they're easier to get that dark, vibrant color when you put the water down first with your water painter, which I was going to show you, but I can't find. Here it is, with your water painters. All right, that's all I have for you today. I hope you have a great weekend, and I'll see you back here Monday about 1:30. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.